Shark attacks are rare. Don't believe me? Statistics actually say that you are more likely to be killed by a cow than a shark. But still, ever since we saw the first Jaws movie, getting gobbled up by a shark is always on the back of our mind every time we go to the beach or take a bath even. Behind every shark attack is an amazing story, so let's talk about 10 shark attacks you'll not believe happened. Number 1 is quite a severe shark attack and the ending is nothing less than a miracle, so watch out for that. And of course, spoiler, some of these can be kind of violent. Well, all that said done, let's begin. Number 10. The unbelievable rescue. If you ask me, I consider that a mother's love toward her children to be the strongest and most amazing force in the universe. However, a shark is kind of right behind that in my opinion. Time and time again, we have seen mothers risk life just to make sure that their children are safe. In this entry, we bear witness to motherly love so strong it was able to snatch a life away from the jaws of danger. Well, a lady and her 15-year-old daughter, Sydney, were at the new Marina Beach on March 14, 2012. The mother-daughter duo was all set to spend some quality time at the beach. The two women were paddling on their surfboards when the shark attack happened. Sydney was immediately pulled underwater right in front of her horrified mother. Sydney was able to get back on her board though, but when she lifted her leg, it was a crimson mess. However, the attack didn't stop there. The sea creature pulled the girl again and tried to grab her away. This was when I decided that she wasn't going to let anything harm her daughter. She grabbed Sydney's shoulder and pulled hard, and eventually, she was able to get Sydney on her board, and the two were fortunately held by other surfers in the area. Number 9. A different outcome. Krishna Thompson and his wife flew to the Bahamas with the intention of celebrating their 10-year anniversary. They were enjoying this day at the beach when Krishna was suddenly bit by a shark on the lake and started to drag him into the open ocean by sheer will. He was able to pry the shark's jaw apart, and then he gave his attacker a few punches to the nose, sending it scaring away. He survived the attack, but his leg was subsequently amputated. Number 8. I filmed my own horror story. In 1964, amateur underwater photographer and filmmaker Henry Boris and two other divers were playing with some seal in the oceans of Lady Julia Percy Island on Australia. I'm pretty sure I could have trailed off its seals, but next suddenly a great white shark came up under Boris and took off his leg. His diving partners heard Boris scream and then saw his leg floating in the water. They managed to give Boris back onto the boat and was able to tell them his blood type, which was radiating towards shore. Boris later recounted that he tried to get his leg free by jamming his hand down the shark's throat and gouging its eyes. Number 7. Dolphins to the rescue. Bram House and other three were swimming 100 meters off Ocean Beach in New Zealand when they were suddenly encircled by a pod of dolphins. They thought they were being boarded off by a group of aggressive males that were protecting their calves. The dolphins were getting closer and closer. When House found an opening, he started swimming away. Then one male dolphin saw him and submerged towards him. This was when he looked down and he spotted a great white shark about 2 meters below them. When the shark began to make a move towards them, the dolphins went into hyperdrive, agitating the water around the swimmers. House recounted that all he can see was a mass of fins backsplashing water and human heads, although it wasn't stated how, but a rescue boat soon approached them and apparently drove the shark away, preventing the worst case scenario. Then later they realized the dolphins were acting so strangely in order to confuse the shark and prevent the attack. Number 6. Are you ready for a close-up? If you're an underwater photographer shooting one of the most aggressive sharks in the world, of course you use your camera. Conservationist Russell Easton was photographing a 12-foot tiger shark in the Bahamas. When he got the close-up, he wasn't expecting. He was looking through the camera viewfinder when all of a sudden all he could see was a huge mouth and sharp teeth. It was only because of the camera that he was not bitten. He explained that biting is the only way for shark to find out what something is and the reason for many shark attacks. He was just fortunate that the tiger shark was more curious about the camera than him, giving him precious time to swim away. This horrifying swim isn't without its reward, though he did manage to take a photo like no one else has, inside of a live ferocious shark's mouth. Number 5. You bite my foot, I'll punch your face. As previously explained in the previous entry, sharks take tiny bites on things that they are curious about before deciding if it's edible or not. Lucky for the guy in this entry, he had the presence of mind and fist of stone to defend himself before the shark decided that he was going to be its next meal. Joshua Hawley was surfing at his favorite spot off the coast of Oahu, Hawaii, not sure, when he left a punch on the left side of his body. When he looked, he spotted the unmistakable dorsal fin of a huge shark. Then he felt a pumping sensation in his foot. He felt no pain and he said it was probably due to the adrenaline. When the shark submerged, Hawley knew he only had a course of action. He had to defend himself or he was going to be the main course. The shark came out this time on the right side, but he was ready. Hawley gave the shark 2 strong right punch on the nose, forcing the shark to swim away. Number 4. A great comeback. One of the most famous surfers on the planet and the subject of a Hollywood film, a Bethany Hamilton shark attack is probably one of the most famous in all of history, not because it was such a terrible tragedy, but because it perfectly displays the strength and fortitude that we are capable of showing. The surfer was riding waves at the age of 13 when a shark came up beside her and bit into her boat. The bite was so quick and clean that Hamilton reported that she didn't even realize what had happened until she heard her friend screaming and saw the red water around her. She quickly rushed to the shore. Hamilton was then taken to the hospital where her injuries were quickly seen. You might think that this kind of event could scare a young girl forever, but not her. Hamilton has gone on not only to continue surfing but also to become one of the most successful female surfers of all time. Wearing her scars is a symbol of overcoming odds and never letting any disability to stop anyone from doing what they want to. Number 3. Immortalized on canvas. John Singleton Cope was the most renowned painter in colonial America. Although he was best known as a portrait artist, one of his famous paintings was of shark. This painting depicts a brutal scene of a fair-haired young boy reaching from the water for help as a large shark closes in on mouth open and ready for dinner. Coble Bass is painting on an actual shark attack from 1749. The victim was Brooke Larson, 14-year-old crew member of a trading ship that was locked in Havana, Cuba. Watson was swimming in the harbor one day when a shark attacked him, not once but twice. The good news? His shipmates witnessed the attack and pulled him from the water, saving his life. The bad news? They were a bit late. Watson lost his foot in the attack and later had the leg amputated. Number 2. Sharks in the shallow. Now it's time for the best pick. This photo shows a great light reaching the water in the act of attacking someone on shore. Now we know that's physically impossible for a shark to attack someone close to the shore, but that doesn't necessarily mean that attacks don't happen that close to shore. Shallow waters seem like a strange place for a shark attack. After all, they sometimes get so close to shore. They can barely move, not commonly, but that does happen. Well, it's hard to say for sure why sharks attack even in shallow water. On July 6, 2001, a bull shark tore off the arm of an 8-year-old boy in Pensacola, Florida. The shark attacked in waist deep water and took a bite of the boy's arm and thigh during the first pass. The shark then claimed onto his arm while people on the beach wrestled with the shark and ripped the boy's arm off. One man then pulled the shark to shore and shot it 4 times in the head, cried open the mouth and pulled out the boy's arm. The boy and his arm were rushed to the hospital. The arm, which was ripped off 4 inches from the shoulder, was reattached, but the loss of blood led the boy near death and caused brain damage. The boy remained in a light coma when he was released from the hospital 5 weeks after the attack. Number 1. by the skin of his wetsuit. Rodney Fox, the most famous shark attack victim in history. Why is that? Because of the extent of his injuries and the fact that he survived them. On December 8, 1963, Fox was defending his Australian spearfishing title when a great white shark grabbed him around the middle and took him for a ride. He was flying through the water upside down trying to gouge the shark's eye. The shark released him and came back for more. Fox jammed his arm down the throat of the beast and pulled it free, ripping the flesh from his arm. The shark released him again and came back a third time, dragging Fox along the ocean floor. After nearly drowning, Fox was released and pulled into a nearby boat. His bones were visible on his right hand and arm, and the hand alone required 94 stitches. His rib cage, lungs, and upper stomach were all exposed. He arrived at the hospital within an hour of the attack and somehow never went into shock. Miraculously, his main artery remained intact, and after 4 hours of surgery and 360 stitches, Fox lived to tell his tale, stating that right after the attack, his body was literally being held together by this wetsuit. Who is having nightmares of being attacked by a shark? Let me know down in the comment section. As always, thank you all for watching.